Now we're going to dive deeper into this power of language and limiting beliefs, and we're going to tie your language to your triggers and emotions. The most powerful principle here to understand this is the idea of the thermostat. You control your internal world, and that influences your external world. You can either be a thermometer, and a thermometer either goes under your armpit, up your ass, or under your tongue, hopefully not in that order, or you can choose to be a thermometer. A thermometer influences the temperature around it. A thermometer reacts to the external environment, whereas a thermostat is able to control his internal environment and therefore influence everything external. And the key to this is triggers. When you feel a negative emotion, that is a sign of pain. And when you feel a negative emotion, you get to unpack it and reframe it. Anger, fear, sadness, hurt, guilt, shame, doubt, uncertainty, stress. These are all feedback loops inside of your body. Your body is speaking to you because emotions are simply energy in motion. And if you don't move that energy and that emotion around, it gets stuck within your body. You suppress it, you sedate it, and then you blow it up towards the people you care about. You blow it up towards your results. So what we're going to do in this video is we're going to go deeper into your emotions, and every time you have a negative emotion, there is going to be something that triggers it. People say, I'm depressed and I don't know why. I'm angry and I don't know why. Bullshit, you haven't explored why. So the feedback is the pain of negative emotions. There is always a trigger, and attached to that trigger, there is always a story, a subconscious set of words going on in your head. It's happening in your career or business. It's happening in your relationships, and it's happening within yourself. So in the next clip, we're going to break down how to complete your first anger reframe strike. So we're going to navigate from the dashboard here back into the journal where our reframes are waiting for us. And we're going to click on the angry reframe. Now I want you to think of a moment where you were super angry at a team member or at somebody in your world, when you were just fucking on fire, you couldn't control it. First of all, you're going to give it a title. This is going to help us figure out what you're actually thinking about. So you can see my title here is My Wife and Team Are Assholes. I don't actually think that, but I have thought that in the past many, many times. I'm going to send that off and then answer the next question. The next question is the trigger. Who or what triggered your anger today? Remember, this could be for any emotion: frustration, fear, sad, hurt, guilt, shame, happiness. It doesn't matter. Today we're doing anger. So I'm going to write here the triggers. My team member missed their start of day, and my wife dismissed my point during a conversation. That answers the trigger question. What is the specific trigger or moment or experience that caused you to feel this emotion? The next question is, what was it about this situation that made you feel angry? Were your boundaries crossed? Were you ignored, disrespected, betrayed? The answer here I've written in bullet points I'm going to read out to you. And again, these are just examples, but I'm sure you've had this experience before. So my boundaries felt crossed. I set clear expectations and they weren't followed. I felt unseen, like my effort or presence didn't matter. It triggered a sense of disrespect, as if what I said carried no weight. It made me feel out of control, like no matter what I do, others don't take responsibility. Have you had that thought before? There was an underlying fear. If they don't step up, everything falls back on me. And it connected to a deeper pain. I work hard to provide, and when others slack off or dismiss me, it feels like betrayal. How fucking deep. The next question is going to be the story. This is the most important piece. What story are you telling yourself about what happened? I want you to write the unfiltered narrative your mind is creating. Write down all of the limiting beliefs and language that are coming up for you based on what you've learned so far from this mindset section. So these are the words going through my head. They don't respect me. I'm the only one who cares about the standards. No matter what I say, I'll end up being ignored. If I don't do it, it won't get done. I can't trust anyone to hold the line. It always comes back to me. They're lazy, careless, and not committed. I'm unsupported and alone in this. No one actually cares as much as I do. If I let this slide, I'm weak and people will walk all over me. Now I want you to just think about, if you truly believe this story, how can you accomplish anything in life? These stories, what I just wrote, you might think, I don't think that way. That's what's going through your head subconsciously when you're a thermometer. You're not thinking about it. You're just reacting with anger. not questioning it, not questioning the story. And if this story, this belief, these words are running your reality, you will fucking lose the game of life. When you do this exercise, you're going to get so much clarity on the narrative and the language going on in your head. So take your time answering this question. I like to do it in a bullet point format. Now, the next question is going to be tying those words to the feelings in the power loop. What single word emotions best describe what you're feeling, and listen to the language here, when you choose to believe the story? Because it's a choice. For example, angry, annoyed, betrayed, fed up, and disrespected. So I've written down a bunch of emotions here that I'm going to post inside, and I'm going to do bullet points. I feel angry. I feel resentful. I feel disrespected, betrayed, frustrated, irritated, fed up, alone, unappreciated, and exhausted. Have you ever felt this way when somebody doesn't show up? So now you're tying that story to the emotions that are going through your body, the energy that you're taking into the day. You're getting clarity on it. Next question. When you run this story in your head, how do you show up? Walk through the thoughts, feelings, actions, and energy that follows. So when I believe the story and when I feel these emotions, I tighten up, my tone gets short and sharp, I withdraw from connection and feel resentful, and I carry heavy energy into the rest of my day. I'm negative and triggered. I am reactive. How do you show up when you run this story in your head and feel these emotions? What a powerful question. You're actually putting a mirror in front of yourself. Now, the next question is very powerful. Is this story 100% true? 100% true. How do you know it's true? What evidence do you have to support this story as absolutely true? And could there be another way to see it? Now, almost always, and I'm going to use global language here, the story is not 100% true. It might be 90% true or 50% true, but that also is a lot better than fully believing this limiting belief that's causing the anger or the trigger. So no, it's not 100% true. The facts are they did miss a task. My wife did interrupt me, but the meaning I've attached, they don't care, I'm always alone. It's my projection. It's my words. It's not 100% true. Write down the answer to this question. Now we're going to get into the facts. We're going to remove the emotion from the story and we're going to write down the facts that are non-emotional about what happened. What actually happened? If you remove the story and the emotions, what are the facts about what happened? Not how you feel. How you feel is not a fact. It is simply a belief. What are the facts? So the facts are a task was not completed at the agreed time. There's no emotion to that. A standard or routine was not followed. Start of day or end of day. No emotion. A comment was spoken over me during a conversation with my wife. That is a fact. I expected X action by Y time. It didn't happen. That's a fact. No explicit insults or threats were made. That's a very important one. When we get attacked or feel attacked or angry at someone, we feel like they're personally attacking us, but they're not. Objectively, someone did or didn't take an action and words were exchanged. Non-emotional. Anything beyond this is interpretation or meaning I've added. That is a fact. Once you've answered this question, the next question is really important. What's the specific outcome you actually want for you in this situation? What do you want? When we feel angry, sad, afraid, anxious, stressed, we're focused on what we don't want. So now we've unpacked the story and the emotions and the facts, and we realize it's not 100% true. Now we get to open the door to a new reality. What do you want? What do you want in this situation? What do you want to happen? What do you want to change? Let's focus where focus goes, energy flows on what you want. So I want to feel heard and respected in communication. I want standards and agreements to be met consistently. I want to create an environment where I don't have to micromanage, where people do their job. I want to know I can rely on my team and family and trust that they're going to follow through. I want to protect my energy and not carry unnecessary resentment. I want to stay connected to my wife instead of letting distance build. I want to have clarity and calm instead of anger ruling me. Now I'm focused on what I want instead of the pain, the story, or the trigger. Next question. How is your current story helping or hurting the outcome that you want? How is how you feel, the story, what you believe, helping or hurting that outcome? And it's almost always going to be hurting the outcome. So we're going to come in here and we're going to break it down. I'm going to make this bold as a title. How's it hurting the outcome? It fuels distance and resentment instead of connection. It pushes me into attack mode instead of constructive leadership. It makes me reactive and short-tempered, which erodes trust. And it drains my energy. I carry frustration through the day into other areas of my life. Now, how is it helping me? Well, it is helping me. It shows me I do care about standards. It alerts me to where my clarities and boundaries are weak. And the net result is the story blocks me from actually creating what I want. It's almost always going to be the same answer. It's not helping me. So write down, how is the story preventing you or stopping you from getting what you want? Now we go to the yes or no questions. So let's be real here. If you keep telling yourself this current story, will you get what you want? And it's almost always a no. Now, if you click yes, it's going to ask you the next question. Are you 100% certain that believing the story actually gets you what you want? And if the answer is yes to this, you haven't done this properly. Of course, it's not going to get you what you want. So you're going to click on no. Now we rebuild. We go into possibility. What might be possible for you in this situation if this story was false, if it wasn't true, if this belief and this narrative that you have chosen to create wasn't true? What could be possible for you? Well, I could see my team member as capable, but needing clearer direction. I could recognize my wife wasn't dismissing me, but distracted or trying to share her perspective. I could stay calm, centered, and assertive instead of reactive. I could treat the moment as an opportunity to reset expectations with strength. I could build trust by addressing the issue without aggression. I could use the situation to grow in patience, leadership, and communication. Instead of spiraling, I could practice influence. I struggle with this for years. Team's not performing, I get angry. What do I actually want? I want them to perform. Well, I need to show up in a different way for that to happen. Next question. Are you ready to rewrite the story, let go of the trigger, and actually get what you want in this situation? Fuck yes. So now we rewrite. What can you take ownership of here, even 1%? What is your role in this? Remember the power quote from previous videos. There is no problem in my life I have not created or allowed. I'm not going to blame my team or my wife for not making me feel good, limiting belief. I'm going to take ownership. They have a role to play, but I can't control them. I can influence them by owning my part. So here's what I can take ownership for here to answer this question. I might not have communicated the standard firmly enough. I assumed they should know without checking for alignment. I didn't ask them if they know how to do it. I reacted quickly instead of pausing to lead with clarity. Whoa. I didn't set a follow-up or accountability mechanism. I carried stress into the conversation instead of preparing my state. How often are we reactive when we communicate? I've been avoiding a harder, deeper conversation out of frustration because it's hard. Even if it's only 1%, I get to own my response, my tone, and my story. What a powerful way of being. What a powerful way of operating. Now we ask how you want to feel. How do you want to feel instead of anger? Again, you're going to use single word emotions to best describe how you want to feel. Do you want to feel grounded, steady, calm, clear? So in this situation, I want to feel grounded, calm, clear, and respected. That's how I want to feel. What is the opposite of the old story? If you were to choose to reframe the old story and build your new power story, what could you believe to be true? You're going to turn the original trigger into an empowered version. You get to rewrite the story. It's on you. So you look at the previous story. What did you write up here as the negative story? What is the actual story you're telling yourself? They don't respect me. I'm the only one who cares about the standards. No matter what I say, I'll be ignored. I can't trust anyone. No one cares. Let's do the opposite of that. People do care. Because this happened, I get a chance to reinforce standards and grow as a leader. You believe that. This is feedback, not proof of disrespect. It shows me where structure is missing. My wife interrupting me isn't betrayal. It's a chance to practice staying grounded and communicate better. They do care. They just need more clarity and accountability. This doesn't prove I'm unsupported. It's a chance to build more support by being direct. Because this happened, I now get to strengthen my ability to stay calm under pressure. And this is a very powerful answer that's within the question. Because this happened, I now. Because this happened, I now get to, listen to the language, I get to do X. Now we've built a new story. What evidence can you find to prove this new story could be just as true or more true than the old one? So now you're going to look for evidence to support that new story, to build the new belief. Beliefs are built on evidence. So my team member has actually hit deadlines before when expectations were clear. He just missed it this time. My wife has supported me in countless ways. This moment where she didn't, that doesn't erase that. When I set strong boundaries, people usually step up. I've got evidence for that. When I shift my state and I'm calm, I get better responses from others. You've probably got evidence for that. I've misinterpreted moments before and later realized my story was wrong. You've got evidence for that. It's more empowering to believe people want to rise when led well. Choosing this frame keeps me more moving forward to what I actually want. You're building evidence for that new story. Where can you prove the new story to be true? This should be a yes or no question, so you'll be able to click it. Stepping back and reviewing what you want, will telling yourself the opposite story get you closer to what you want? It's always going to be a yes. Now we go to the final section. How has this anger trigger been an opportunity for you to learn and grow? How has this been an opportunity for you to learn and grow? How is this moment happening for you, not to you? You learn and grow through every challenge. There are no problems. There are only solutions and opportunities to learn and grow. So it's teaching me that anger is a signal, not a solution. It highlights where my leadership and communication need upgrading. And I'm going to change that to get to be upgraded. Listen to, you're always looking for limiting belief language. It's an opportunity to practice separating facts from the stories in my head. It shows me that I can choose influence over reaction or control. It's helping me recognize deeper patterns, fear of being unsupported, fear of being disrespected. It's reminding me that triggers are training reps. Each one is a chance to get stronger at leading myself. And growth comes not from avoiding anger, but from mastering it. What amazing opportunities to learn and grow. We tie it all together with revelation and lessons. You'll notice this is a pattern with these reframe strikes. So what is the most significant revelation, insight, or breakthrough you are leaving this anger reframe with, and why do you feel that way? A revelation is an inner insight. This is what I've realized about myself. So it's internal. So this is what I've written down here. My anger isn't about them. It's about me attaching disempowering meaning, limiting beliefs. I can choose a story that puts me back in control. Mind blown. The next question is very similar. What is the most powerful single lesson you've uncovered while executing this anger reframe? So a lesson isn't just what you've realized about yourself. It's a transferable principle, such as this is what life has taught me that applies to anyone. So this applies to my wife, my kids, and my team. When I own my story, I own my outcome. Anger can be a signal to step into leadership, not retreat into blame. Whoa. We finish with feelings. Compared to how you felt when you started this anger reframe, what singular words would you use to describe how you feel now after completing it? I feel calm, I feel clear, I feel empowered. And we always finish with action. We now take the lessons, we take the new story, we take the new feelings, we take the reframe, and we finish with action. And these actions are things you're going to do. So the action for my team, I've got 2 in here, is reset standards and expectations. And with my wife, calmly share how I felt. Those are my actions. It's going to ask me if I want to add these actions to my hit list. If it's something you want to schedule or add into your hit list, you select yes. If it's something you're going to do right now, you might want to select no. And that is the anger reframe done. It's going to be waiting for us inside of the journal. And I'm going to move my face here so you guys can see this. You can see on the right side of the screen, we can download that journal. Okay, we can click on the download button and we can scroll down and click on download. We can also click on the share button on the right here. There's a little share icon, and we can share that with our coaches by scrolling down inside of the coaching chat. It looks like the button's missing right now. We'll get that fixed for you. So that, my friend, is the anger reframe. That is how you actually take back your power and put yourself in a position to win. So your action step for this video, it's going to take some time. You get to give this the time, energy, and space it deserves. Now, this is going to take at least 20 minutes. At least 20 minutes. It might take you 30 to 60 minutes. It doesn't fucking matter. You give this the time and space it deserves, because ultimately, anger, fear, sadness, hurt, guilt, shame, they're going to waste way more than 30 minutes of your day. You carry that into every single experience. And one of the most powerful things you can do as a man is slow the fuck down, get out of the grind, pull yourself out of the emotion so that you can show up and perform at your most highest capacity. If you want to do this in the morning, in the evenings, do it throughout the day whenever you need it. Step one, you're going to schedule at least 20 minutes to do this exercise. You're going to go to the anger reframe strike inside of the journal section of the app. You're going to recall a time you felt deep anger, and you're going to answer the questions in order to identify the trigger, identify the story and emotions, and you're going to rewrite a new power story. Once you have completed this, I want you to share your anger reframe inside of your VIP chat. Brother, please give this the time and space it deserves. Please go into detail with your answers, and I promise you, you will have so much clarity on how to win and succeed in life.